the fans. You know what?
And of course the fans, absolutely. You guys, I gotta say,
They don't have yoga.
the yoga suck. But I gotta say that the response, at least for me, has been really strange in the last 10 years. Before we start off, I'm preemptively jumping into this.
Hey, go for it.
It's weird because when I first got on the show, and then this is kind of a pre-Q&A, because then we're gonna go into the Q&A. I just want to say this because of the warm reception I've been getting. When you first get on a show like Dragon Ball Z, you meet people and they're like, hey, it's cool, you're on Dragon Ball Z, hey, that's really cool. But now it's been like 12 years. So now it's like, you were my childhood, my kid's named after you, oh my God. And then I thought about it one day, me and a friend of mine, I said, okay, let me get this straight. So when the brain is developing, some kid's like 7 years old, or 10 years old, his synaptic pathways are forming and the vibrations of my voice are going into his head every day for years to millions of kids. That will freak you out if you think about it. It really freaks you out. And then that's ingrained in your brain in that formative years. It would be different if you're 21, 22, 25, whatever. When you're a kid, it gets ingrained in your brain. Because I've got my own childhood favorite things, And when you think about that, I oftentimes forget I played this character, especially when I'm at home. I forget sometimes, and I'll play Raging Blast with my girlfriend, and she's like, that's you, And I'm like, oh yeah, I played that guy. And it's a surreal experience. I guess the point of this whole mini speech is, it's an enormously gratifying thing, and thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really feel like it's part of my life's work, if not my life's work. I don't know if I'll ever do anything cooler than Dragon Ball Z. Even if I were in a more famous show or had much more success as an actor, Dragon Ball Z and being Goku will probably always have a special little separate corner from everything else I've done. Nothing will ever be cooler than. So, and I never say never, but still, that's pretty much how I feel. So anyway, we're gonna start the Q&A. I'm Schemmel Cherami Leigh.
Yes.
Did I say it right? Cherami Leigh?
Yeah.
Leigh. We've met a couple times, but
Yeah,
we haven't worked together on a show yet.
It's true.
Not yet. And the way I like to do Q&As, and I'm going to share me if it's okay, depending on the actor, we'll do vocal requests or whatever. Q&As to me are like giant ADD questions, because I have real bad ADHD, and it's like a giant ADD session. So if someone asks a question and inspires an offshoot question, some people like panels that are just limited to, we want to talk about voice acting and how to be voice actors. Some people panels, we want to talk about the roles you're in. Some people are like, I want to talk about cars, whatever. I don't care what we talk about as long as it's, appropriate for the audience. Age group or whatever, although that's never really stopped me before, but as I get older, I change my mind just a tiny bit, but not really. So, Q&As, we can just, question for me, question for Cherami, doesn't matter. Is that how you're cool with that? You're cool with that? Okay, so we'll start, yeah. And right here, you, right here with the love shirt on.
Hi, I was just wondering, how did you, I know you enjoyed playing your role as Goku, but how did you enjoy other roles like Amidamaru from Shaman King, like the smaller ones?
But Goku, like I said, has got its own separate little area. And Goku's not the funnest character to play, actually. Largely because he's a very two-dimensional character. He's either happy or angry, or screaming or not screaming. That's pretty much it. King Kai's way more fun to play than Goku. Dr. Crowler was even more fun to play. Now, when I say fun to play, I'm just talking about the fun factor in terms of gratifying and awesome. No, there's nobody better than Goku. There's just the awesome level. So I'm talking in various shades of emotional gratification. So Goku's just like this special iconic thing that's really means a lot to me, and is the iconic Joseph Campbell, Hero of a Thousand. So it's really important to me that was played exactly the way I could play it as best as I could play it, which I've been told has been very well done. Some people hate my work. I have met a few fans who hate my work. I don't really care. I don't really care if you like it or hate it, because as an artist, you get to a place where you're thinking, okay, there's a lot of stuff I did on Original Z that I think sucks, but I'll have kids come up to me and go, this is awesome. I'm not going to say, oh, well, I think it sucks, so you can't think it's awesome. Right. The point is subjectivity. And as an artist, you have to make choices in the booth, and you have to make choices like, is this awesome? It's the awesomest thing I can think of. The director thinks it's awesome. Okay. And there's always this kind of lack of confidence. Where you run into troubles, if you get too confident and you think you're too awesome, then you stop growing as an artist and you become what's called a narcissist. What's that?
Your work starts.
Your work starts, and I've had that problem. I wouldn't say that I got bona fidely, that's even a word, narcissistic, but I've got to a place where I do a lot of different voices. That's one of my strengths. I'm very flexible, and I got into a certain palette of voices that, and I started dating my girlfriend, 6 months ago, we're going 5 months now, and she really got me back into cartoons. Because she watches a lot of cartoons, and I watch Adventure Time now, and I watch Regular Show. I love Adventure Time, which is an amazing show. And those voices were not voices I would come up with, and are not choices I was making. At first I didn't like it, but I realized I was in my own creative bubble after doing this for 12 years. So it's really opened my mind up to thinking about different voices and how to do them. And that's the way it was when I first started. And you do this a lot for a lot of years. You can get into a rut. And I've felt in the last 2 years at least, 2 or 3 years, like I've been in a creative rut for new voices, not voices I exist. I feel like the voices I do, like Goku got better and better, but creatively I feel really stagnant. I'm a little bit burned out. So her coming into my life and introducing me to a lot of that stuff has been and I audition better, and I because of that. There's always, you can't get in that creative bubble. So that's, I know, a longer answer than you wanted. That's what I tend to do. Cherami, did you want to add to that at all? Maybe she was talking about Goku.
I mean, no, I completely agree. The more, like you said, the more that you're exposed to things, and like I liked watching animated shows, and then once I got exposed to doing anime stuff, that opened a whole new realm. But now I just like watching anything that's animated.
Yeah.
Because, and I consider it to be purely research for work, because like you said, you pull from other people, and you're like, oh, I like that kind of tone to their voice, I like how they made that choice. And it's just a different way that you can start making different choices.
That's why we can write off cable off our taxes, actually. We can.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you can write off DVDs, video games, cable. You can write off
I knew you could do like movie, like when you
can
go
write off cable.
watch movies.
When I'm watching a show, any show I'm watching, whether it's animated or not, I'm always thinking about their acting choices. Like, why did they say that? Why did they say it like that? Would they say it differently? Is that good acting? Do I believe it? Is it bullshit? I ask myself a lot of questions when I'm watching shows to improve my acting skills. Because voice acting is two things: voice acting, and I'll make this point real quick before I take the next question. I do a lot of different voices. I know some actors who don't do a lot of different voices, but they work just as much as I do because they're really good actors. So doing a lot of different voices is helpful, but first and foremost, your focus has to be acting. Because when I was directing and casting, I'll pick somebody who can act better over the right voice any day.
Well, and I think that when you're like, I would say that once I started doing anime specifically, I started feeling more confident in taking risks as an actor. That and taking improv, which I started both of those at the same time. Starting working with an improv troupe where you have to think on the fly, and then doing animated stuff, we have to make it fit the flaps and maintain the integrity of the scene. Sometimes you have to go faster or slower, so it's how many different ways can I say this while still...
And what choice do you use to make that emotional effect?
Right.
Is it because a lot of times it's a flap issue.
But you have to find a way to justify it.
Justify it, and then it can be very tricky sometimes. The writing really helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, you guy with the glasses, yes.
You touched briefly in your last answer there about the difference in working on Z and working on Kai.
Yeah.
What is that like to be able to go back and like kind of start over again with a character, and like, because I know that you've kind of been doing him as a character for the entirety of your career.
Oh yeah.
But to be able to go back and start again from the beginning of the story and kind of start everything over, does that change how you go about it? Like,
we had this discussion, not you and I, but me and Chris Sabat had this discussion before we started. First of all, it's unheard of in the animation industry to get to do a show again like that. I doubt they'll redo Pokemon unless they think they can make more money on it. They might. I don't know what Pokemon's going to do. I do work on that show, but I don't know what they're going to do. So that was really thrilling. As an actor, especially when Goku was the first audition you ever had, that was my first audition ever, and I was pretty green, very green. You get to go, oh yes, I can fix all that crappy acting I did. But then you realize a lot of kids like that crappy acting. And I've gone back and watched it, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, I was just so hard on myself. And my voice has changed a little bit. I was 30 at the time, I think I'm 43 now, and I was 30 29, 30 when I got Dragon Ball Z. And I try to keep it up there, keep it, high. Your voice dips a little bit when you get in your 40s. It was really exciting because it wasn't exciting necessarily to do the show again. It was exciting because we knew we were doing Akira Toriyama's vision. There's a lot of filler in Dragon Ball Z. A lot of people like that filler, and I used to be kind of against it, but now I watching, like, I like the driver's license arc, which is not. I love the driver's license arc, and I guess for me it was really exciting because the script was going to be closer to the original. I'm a bit of a purist. I know what Funimation was trying to do the first time around, and I understand that, because I haven't had to do script adaptation, but I happen to disagree with it. And now Funimation, well, that was back in the day. Funimation now does everything real close, and they have for years now, real close to the Japanese, as far as I know, from what I understand. Thank you for coming. Thank you. So I just think it's funny to announce that. So it was really exciting because we got to do a Kiritoyama's vision, but the really exciting thing for me was a script that was closer to the Japanese, like right on the money. And we also listened to the Japanese for almost every, well, not every cue, but for a lot of the cues. So I was listening to a lot of Masuko Nozawa. In video games, I listened to all her cues on the video games before I record. I don't necessarily try to mimic it because they don't necessarily want that, but they do want me to take her emotion and go, okay, whatever that feeling is, do an American version of your version of Goku of that feeling if you're doing a video game. So it was exciting to be able to redo some, what I thought was bad acting, but that's just my opinion, which doesn't have any more weight than yours. Trust me, it does not. It only does when I'm in the booth because I get to make the final choice, really. But at the end of the day, man, there's a bunch of crappy shows that a lot of people love. And I'm not saying that, by the way, I'm not trying to imply that Dragon Ball Z is crappy. It's a fantastic show, but I'm saying like other shows that are crappy. Like there's a lot of stuff I see on TV, live action stuff that I think is terrible. I'm like, why do people watch this crap? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'm not trying to imply that at all. So it was a chance to do that. It was a chance to revisit it in original Japanese and see an edited version and relive the story and really, like I got to change Nail's voice, which I really wanted to change and make him sound more like he was related to Piccolo. That was a huge big deal for me because I thought I did such a crappy job the first time around. King Kai's voice is a little bit different. I changed some of the way he did the comedy. I got to make artistic choices based on having more years of experience that I thought were better choices for the show. I also got to add a couple things that I thought were funny because I knew the character really well. It's kind of like I remember reading about William Shatner talking about like when he first started doing Kirk and then later, you know, he just gets to do it the way he wants. That's pretty much how they treat him. It's like when I first started doing Goku, they're like, you're doing it this way. By the time we got to Kai, they're like, you know the character, you do it. You know, Chris still directed me a lot, but at the end of the day, it's like, Zach, you know, it was pretty much, you know, I own the character, you know, and that's a really good feeling. So, do you want to add to that in terms of, oh, no, you didn't. I didn't know if did you do any work on Z?
I did a little bit. I worked on the movie.
Okay, what did you do?
I was pansy. Little girl, like, tomboy, throws rocks at people.
I did not know that. I was not aware of that.
It's kind of like me, tomboy who throws rocks at people.
Yes, in the front.
Okay, so you mentioned Chris Sabat a couple times. Now,
Mhm.
it's a question like with you and involving Chris Sabat. Like when you guys both did Gogeta and Vegito, what can you tell us about that?
Well, it's real simple. Because of the advent of digital technology, a lot of this dubbing, you know, is available to begin with because that didn't really start getting cheap until the late 90s, and it wasn't that cheap, but now it's very cheap. So the way we do Gogeta, and there's actually a specific way we do it. For the video games, sometimes we're in the booth together, but for the most part, if it's Gogeta, I lead. So I record everything first the way I want to do Goku. And then he comes in and hears what I say, and then he does something in Vegeta's voice that's kind of Goku inflected. And then they mix and they match it together, and then they use digital technology to make sure they're perfectly lined up and compressed and EQ'd and all such. When we do Vegito, he goes first, and then I kind of affect a little Britishy kind of as Goku. If you heard the line separately, it would be like, you know, I'm trying to think of a line, like, throw me that earring! I mean, kind of, it's a little, just sort of matches his kind of pompous thing, you know, that he's doing. And his inflections are, if I were going to draw Chris's inflections, they're always real flat. There's like, the arc is always like, da 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 da. It's because it's dark and he's sarcastic. Goku's a ball. And Chris says sometimes he can't get. He's like, I don't know how you get that high. I don't know how your voice is doing that. I don't know. I'm just being Goku. I don't think about it. I'm just being Goku. So that's pretty much how we do it. Yes, way in the back, and I'm gonna get you next in the front. Okay.
One of my favorite moments in Dragon Ball Z was when like Krillin's like looking at Goku and he's just like, wow, he's like so calm and relaxed. I bet if I threw this rocket at him, he'd like notice it. Your reaction like when he hits you.
There's an outtake of that I can't repeat that has a lot of F words in it. Bleep, you bleep and bleep. You threw a bleep and rocket me, bleep and bleep and bleep. I mean,
Awesome.
it's a total outtake. It's one of my favorite scenes. Yeah.
Is Cherami throwing rocks at you?
Yeah.
Cherami has yet to throw a rock at me.
Yeah.
I hope she does not.
Next time you should do that scene. I'll do that while you're in the booth. So it's a genuine reaction.
That's okay. I like to leave farts in the booth for the next actor anyway. I did that for Laura Bailey once.
Somebody took their shoes off.
I recorded all of Dragon Ball Z with no shoes.
No. There was a guy while I was doing, I don't remember what show it was, but he took his shoes off and he'd been in there for like 10 hours. And Zach went in right before and he goes, wow, I'm sorry. Because it was in a whisper room. So
I used to sleep on the whisper room during lunch.
I do that. I sleep on the floor of the whisper room.
I used to sleep with them. Yes, you.
I actually have a question for Cherami.
Good.
Okay.
Because like Fairy Tale is ongoing right now, and there's like 100 episodes, and if it goes on like for like a lot of episodes, how would that be? And also,
awesome.
the second part question is,
Okay.
can you say Lucy Cake?
Can I say Lucy Cake?
Cake, because she kicks Nasu and the other people in episode 51.
Oh, okay.
Lucy Kick.
Yes,
Lucy
cake.
Cake. Got it.
Yeah, she didn't hear it properly.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it would be awesome to be on a show that runs forever, especially since I really love that character and I really love that show. And
It's not awesome, doesn't it? No.
Really?
I love being Goku, but I tell you what, man, after 12 years doing it, like, I'm screaming again. It's the screaming.
Yeah, no, the screaming I could understand. There was one, in Lunar in My Bride is a Mermaid, screams a lot, and that would be rough. So when I was finished with that show, and then she sings. So she sings and she screams, sometimes at the same time. And you're like, oh, okay, somebody thought this was a really sick joke. But, like, this character, she doesn't scream that much.
She's annoying as hell, though.
Yep.
Lunar?
Yeah.
Yes, she is. And she's really vicious. But I really like that character because I felt like it was like a teen pop star who's like spoiled that might be on like a television show now. So it's kind of cool because I have passed that part in my life where I could play those roles on camera because I'm 23. I can't play like a 14-year-old bitter child star. So I kind of always wanted to do that. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to make her super annoying and really high maintenance, and it's going to be awesome for
awesome.
me.
But doesn't she say, like, we?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
She's incredibly narcissistic. So she, I think, creates all of her... I like to think that she has multiple personalities. So it's all the personalities together.
Yeah.
And they are we. But yeah, no, Fairy Tale would be great if we got to do more episodes. And then, Lucy Kick!
Yeah.
Sounds like me.
You want to pick the next person?
Yes.
Yeah. Beyond other than Lucy, I recognized you from other roles like Primula and Shuffle, or Beatrice and Gunslinger Girl season 2. How do you make characters that are generally kind of very passive or just doesn't speak too much seem more interesting, or otherwise they would have just seemed very one-dimensional otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess for us, I would say like no matter how big or small a character is when we're creating it, we have to be able to justify the choices that they make and the lines that they say. So, I mean, for us, like when I go into a booth, somebody's like, this character only has 5 lines. Well, I don't ever want to do work on a show and say, well, because it's 5 lines, I'm just going to say the 5 lines and it doesn't matter. I want to make sure that the 5 lines that's like for Gunslinger Girl, that was the one time I got to work on that show. And it's the 2nd season, so it's a popular show, it's a big show. I'm like, I want to be proud of the work that I do on the show because I got the opportunity to work on the show.
Because I recognized you, it was also at the same time, it was like, it's almost like I was impressed, like, your character essentially is like, she doesn't particularly care or any, or it's just like whatever, and compared to her handlers, like he's pretty much like the really nice guy, really sociable, just tries to talk to you, but you're just like whatever.
Yeah, I play that a lot. I don't know why. I'm a very sarcastic person, so I guess that's, I mean, like when I go into record, I'm pretty sarcastic anyway, so I guess they kind of read into that. But I play those characters a lot that are very hostile and don't care.
A lot of unexpressed rage, Shani.
A little bit. I think it's because I'm small and everybody thinks I'm a child. Like at the airport
How tall are
yesterday, I'm 5 foot even, but you wouldn't know because I'm wearing super tall shoes.
Yeah. I could probably throw.
You probably could. Like when I was at the airport yesterday, it's my bad. Okay, I wore a Tinkerbell sweater. I know, and I wore like tennis shoes, so it's really small. I went to customs, and he asked me like 40 questions more than everyone else. And he's like, is someone coming to get you? Are you traveling with someone? No. Is this really your passport? No, I went to an elaborate charade to make sure that it was not my passport. So this is, you hear the sarcasm. And then I go to get my bag, and this guy, I had like 4 people come up to me, they're like, ma'am, can you handle that? That suitcase is bigger than you. It has wheels, I can roll it. It's fantastic. How old are you. I'm 23 years old, going to be 24. You don't have to lie about it. Okay, I'm not. If I was going to lie, I would tell you I was 37. So that was, I guess that's where that comes from.
No.
I could be feisty if I need to.
I have a problem because I wear glasses. People think I'm smart and I'm not. I got to figure shit out.
I love to collect glasses, and I will randomly wear glasses because I'm jealous of people like you who have.
I have several. Because I wear glasses, I go out of my way to have very stylish eyewear with really incredible lenses.
Yeah.
So I have some $700 Alain Michleys. These are like, I don't know, Oliver Peoples or somebody. And then I have some,
Nice.
I don't know, I buy fancy eyewear. And I try to get other people to buy fancy eyewear because I think it makes a difference. Because I'm like, you know what, if I gotta wear this crap for the rest of my life, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
You know? So, and also, I also have my lenses, I also have my glasses prescribed to 2015 vision. So because I'm mad that I have bad vision, so I'm like, I can read shit like really far away.
That's awesome.
So I tell my doctor, make it just a little stronger, just so I can see stuff. Like have superpowers. Pretty much gave me a headache for a while, but then I got used to it. Yes.
How do you feel about a bridge?
I have mixed feelings about that. I think it's absolutely copyright infringement. I think it's very funny, and I think they're very good writers. And I do my own parodies, but I usually use karaoke tracks because I do parodies of songs, but I don't. So if you're using the animation, it's copyright infringement. Period, plain and simple. But I do think it's funny. So my advice has always been to them: hey, it's funny. You're talented. Write something original.
Yeah.
Make your own show. Because we're in this kind of. You guys grew up in this age where one of the reasons copyright laws were easy to enforce in the 70s when I grew up is because it was really hard to copy something, in a mass amount. Now you can, squirt a video or an MP3 from your phone to your buddy right away, and people can do these mashups and cuts together. And it is an art form within itself, but we do live in a land of copyright laws which aren't as enforced in China especially. So it becomes this tricky thing where you think, well, yeah, but it's out there, and anyway, so that's all.
It's always fascinating to me because, it's very difficult for me to pull live action or dub things to put together in a track so that I could have a demo to get more work.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Why is that so difficult? But then, all this stuff can be.
You gotta get Mac the Ripper, or what's the other one I use? I rip stuff from DVDs from my demo, which I haven't finished yet, but I'll rip stuff using Mac the Ripper.
Okay.
And it'll rip video and then you can cut, and you bring that into iMovie and cut it together. And now we're in a tech panel now.
I gotta figure out how to do that. Because people are like, I see people mash things together, and I'm like, how did you do that? And I just want 5 seconds from one show.
Some people spend their whole afternoons doing that. And then if you have a fast computer, it helps a lot.
That's awesome.
So let's see who we picking next. Way in the back, girl in the back, and then we'll get to somebody else.
This question is directed to you, Sean.
Yes?
I was wondering how you got started in the business.
Well, there's a short version and a long version. I was a professional French hornist for years. I played in orchestras, and I was in a brass quintet, and I was looking for a bee puppet, and I went to a puppet theater, and then I got hired to do marionettes there. And then while I was hanging out there doing marionettes with this old marionette master, he heard me doing impressions of voices all the time. So, you do good voices, why don't you do some voices on my show? So I did some voices on his show, and I always did voices for my friends all the time. Every party I went to, I was doing impressions. Since the time I was little, I've done impersonations. And people would do crazy things to me like, hey, do an impression of Popeye doing Grover, doing Kermit the Frog. And I try to mix the voices together in my head and do that voice. And I used to, in the 80s, I remember I'm doing kind of the long version because I can. And in the 80s, what's that?
And it's funny.
Okay, good. In the 80s, I worked in the Six Flags Marching Band, and I would, that place you could record your own songs, they let you dub your own song. I did George Michael's Faith as Popeye. So I gotta have his faith. I did. And then they liked it so much, they go, do you mind if we play this over the loudspeaker every day? And I'm like, I don't care, I work here. I didn't work at the recording place, I worked in the band, obviously. And every day, and then I heard other people that I didn't know, yeah, they play this Popeye thing, it's a I go, that's me. This is way before, this is 1985, way before I got on Dragon Ball Z. And then a friend of mine's like, you do voices all the time, you gotta go audition for this cartoon. It's like wanted voice actors for a national cartoon. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. I want to be a French horn player. I've got a studio, 30 students, I'm playing in orchestras, I don't give a crap. But they kept bugging me, and so I decided to audition, and I got the lead. And the first day of work, I remember thinking, this is where I'm supposed to be. It was everything came together, and I was like, what am I doing practicing 3 hours a day for 20 years on this curly tube, which I enjoy very much. And I still play sometimes, but I'll tell you what, it's a giant pain in the ass. It was a really difficult instrument. And I did it, like, I was good at it, but still, it's still a pain in the ass. And you're never, maybe it speaks to ego, but the cool thing about being a voice actor, if you're man A or soldier B, you're still the soloist, unless you're doing Walla, but that's another ball of wax. So when you're a French horn player and you're playing, in the pit or whatever, one time I did an experiment, I just faked my whole part, the whole concert, just to see if anybody noticed I was playing fourth horn on one show. Sometimes you play fourth, third, whatever. Nobody noticed. I'm like, man, I practice all this time, nobody notices, and the conductor takes all the credit. Screw this noise. So when you can come in and have one line, and it's the fun, like over 9,000, and it's the line, and you know what I mean? Nobody gives a crap about the lead at that point. So for me, it's more gratifying because no matter what part I'm playing, I'm the soloist, and I really like that. That's it's whether it speaks to my ego or not, I don't care. I enjoy that, and I've always had a really flexible voice, and I like emoting with it, and it's almost like jazz improv to me because I'm picking a set of notes for the lines. I tend to think in musical terms when I record, and and I record my vocal parodies to experiment with singing and make people laugh, and that's what I do. So that's the long version, kind of how I got started. On Dragon Ball Z, yes. Who are we gonna? I'll let you pick someone.
In the back.
What was the most difficult thing you ever voiced? Ever?
You asking Cherami?
What?
Asking both of us?
Me, yes.
Black Doom in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Because I had to talk like this for 14 hours.
And I had to go to a Chinese doctor after that, and he put needles this long into my head and my voice, and I took a bunch of herbs, and that helped, but I lost my voice on that one.
Because you're doing this.
Actually, since then, I can't do that quite as well. I mean, it's because I was a lot louder, it was a lot louder. Jeremy, does anybody, before you answer the question, I just had this pop in my head because I'm thinking about another parody. Does anybody ever go, Cherami spoken class today? Pearl Jam?
Yeah, you're the second person.
Second person? Okay, cool. So maybe I'll record that parody, I don't know.
Yeah, please do. I think the hardest, it wasn't like one character, but it was a set of characters. I was recording like 7 at a time. And I was doing Tamaki from Bamboo Blade, who talks really high, but then she'll like scream really loud at like this level. And then I would go in and record Yoshka, who also talks really high. But then I was recording Lunar for a little bit, who screams. And then I recorded another character that was really low, and then one that was my voice, who was a fighting character. So I was recording these, and when I would go from high to low, like my voice was like, it was fine, but like I did it like every day, different characters. Right. And you're screaming in different parts of your voice. So I think if you're only working on one, like one part gets worn out, you kind of fake it for some other part.
I've lost part of my voice before.
Yeah. But I was using so many different parts of my voice that I could just hear one part was wearing out. And then I'm like, it's okay, it'll come back, because I got the other parts that are okay. And then the other parts started wearing out, and the other one hadn't healed yet. And I was going, okay, this is not normal. But I'd never done, it was cool because I kept going to auditions. I was like, I was playing a boy too. So I was like, I want to play all these different voices. I'm going to keep trying, I want to get cast to try all these different voices. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Don't do it all at the same time, because then your voice doesn't have time to heal while it's working on the other places. So that was a hard, time frame, and I lost my voice for 6 weeks. And I was trying everything.
Oh, 6 weeks, that's a lot. That you really fried your voice.
I killed it.
Have you ever, what you're talking about?
I cried and then it came back.
That's interesting. Have you ever had this problem? I got to a limit. Some people ask me about voices that you do versus voices in your head. My uncle is schizophrenic, but I don't think I suffer from that. But there was a time where I was working on so many shows and doing so many different voices. I think I was doing anywhere 4 to 6 different voices on about 6 different, it was like 36 different, it was 2006 or whatever. I was working on lots of 4Kids stuff, and I was doing Dragon Ball Z. I remember laying in bed at night, my voice was really tight, but also mentally, you're working a long day, it's like, voices are just in your head.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, I'm this close to losing my mind. I am this close. One more voice, and I'm going to start, the voices are going to start talking to me. I'm not controlling the voices anymore.
When when you're watching other cartoons or commercials and you're working on various voices, do you ever start hearing stuff and going, oh, that was incredibly similar to that one? Oh, there it is. And you like...
Are you talking about other people's work?
No, you hear other people's work.
Right.
And it triggers something in your, like something about the tone or the line triggers a character that you voiced. And then you sit there and that voice is in your head the whole time. And that's... Like,
no, I don't have that. Well...
Like I went and saw... When I saw Harry Potter, whenever I see a movie that has an accent, I will leave the theater, and that accent just like starts happening, and I'll speak that way for a long time. So for a while, like I would leave Harry Potter, people would be like, "Hey," one of my friends did it as a joke. They're like, "Yeah, sure, we do that one line," and I was like, "Oh God, I can get out of it," but it was so much easier to just talk like that because I heard it for 3 hours. And then after I started voicing Black Butler, every time I saw Harry Potter, I was like, what would it be like if Lizzie went to school here? Like, they're like, Harry! Really obnoxious. So then I had to like wait till I was finished recording Black Butler before I could watch Harry Potter. Because I was like, she'd be so obnoxious in this world. It'd be great.
I don't get locked into a voice, but I do get locked into sticking a character that's either my voice or not my voice into something that's oftentimes inappropriate. And lately it's been my impression of Fred Flintstone doing the rap from Shoop. And I'm actually recording it right now. So I'm recording, I took the original song and I'm splicing in. That's how the beat wanna get with me, and I'll be in the morning having Fruity Pebbles, and I love Fruity Pebbles. Gluten-free, by the way. Fruity Cocoa Pebbles, gluten-free.
Good to know.
And I drink it with almond milk because I'm trying to do the no dairy.
I am trying to do the no dairy too.
And I will not get certain voices or certain things out of my head, and I'll just start laughing. And if I laugh at it enough, I'm thinking, okay, I need to record this. So, yeah, that's the one that happens to me. Yes, in the front.
What's the number one fan question that people keep asking you that you mentally go, oh, again?
That one. How did you get started in That is the question, but I wasn't offended that you said, I just want to find you and go, how did I get started? That and do Kamehameha, or it's over 9,000, or...
Wait, you get asked to do over 9,000?
Oh yeah. Anywhere... Well, or things that are related to the show that I would have no idea about because I recorded it years ago. And like, data about the show that's like, Is
Goku a member of the Illuminati?
Yeah. No, I don't know. No, probably not. Well, he'd be the perfect member because you'd never suspect him.
Nobody expects the Spanish.
No one expects the Goku to be an Illuminati. Those kind of questions, yes. Do you have an answer for that?
I don't know. I guess like when people ask, and I don't groan, I just panic a little bit when people are like, so in that one episode, like you said something like in the first like 5 minutes, and I'm like, which episode? I don't remember. It was in this like one show where you were like a villain, and like, what did she look like? I don't remember. And I'm like you guys have no idea when that happens. My heart starts racing, and they're like, can you say that one line? Literally that vague, and I'm like, I'm like a people pleaser, so I always want to make everybody happy. But when that happens, I'm like, I can't help you because I don't know what you're talking about. So it doesn't make me groan; it makes me panic.
It is very likely that you guys know more about the details. We focus on, at least I do. I think Cherami's the same, but we focus on. I'm thinking about the character in a completely emotional, acting, ethereal.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about what my power level was when I was Super Saiyan 1 or 2. I'm thinking about how does Goku feel and how do I make that feeling come to life in the most believable way possible.
Someone asked me for Fairy Tail, how long do I think that it takes for, like, traveling at the speed of light, how long do I think it takes for someone to be able to pass through the spirit world to get to Lucy?
Well, at 186,000 miles per second, and relative distance to the spirit world.
And they're like, well, when it's edited, that's not the exact amount. So like, I mean, like in real time, like they edit it for the show. In real time,
time was also altered as you approach
like,
the speed of light and masses increase. So
I'm gonna make you answer the question because I looked at him and I go, I don't know. How long do you think it took? And he goes, well, that's what I'm asking you. You talked to the creator.
It's funny
that was what I asked him.
Sorry, it's funny that they're asking that question and not how are you defying the laws of physics to get there with the energy source and the weight of the character and mass and how mass works through.
I wanted to respond and say, no, it's not real time because it's a cartoon, and so it's edited kind of just the way that, never mind.
Flux capacitor.
I just love that voice. Okay, you can pick a next one. 'Cause I'm getting people shy. Oh.
Yes.
So I saw that you just got cast in Shiki as Sanako.
Yes.
What do you think of the anime, and what was your take? Like, without spoilers, how did you feel? Have you finished watching it?
Uh-huh.
How did you feel when you finished Shiki?
It's gonna be hard to
Did you cry? Did you cry?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was terrified when I was recording the last episode. I was literally, because like he said, we don't look at it as as from the cartoon viewing perspective. We look at it as we are that character. So while we're voicing it emotionally, what would we be going through as they're going through that? That's the only way it's going to be justified. So she's going through, and a lot of people have feelings about like that show. What I love about the animation of that show is it's purely perspective based, because there really is no good and there's no evil, and you could justify both sides, and I understand that.
Excuse me, who the hell has my number and is texting me in the audience?
It's like not me.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It says, bonjour, I'm in your panel.
Oh, that's a little.
It's a
scary.
705 area code. Where's that? What city is
Hold
that?
up.
I'm all, when you're a voice actor, people are...
That's not mine.
Where?
Simcoe County area.
I don't know.
Oh,
All right,
creepy.
I won't call you out anymore. But that... Call the phone! Why do you have my number?
Call them. See who it is.
Call them. Let's see.
They're
how
not
do I
gonna
call?
own it.
They're not gonna own it. They're gonna shut the ringer off right
No,
now.
I will play something for you guys in a second that will prove how.
Like, you're currently roaming. Yes, I know roaming charges may apply. I mean, Canada, for Christ's sake.
Oh, this one. Wait.
I heard a beat come from this side.
Telltale card.
You? We saw you getting up.
Nah, that's all right. We should finish the panel.
Oh,
All right. 'Cause I realize I'm probably embarrassing somebody. I'm sorry.
I'll play this for you to explain. Like, if it were me, you would know, because this is my ringtone.
You know his
If
number.
it's the Dragon Ball Z theme, I'm gonna throw up.
It's probably worse.
Dragon, run, dragon.
So like, if ever an engineer at Funimation actually recorded that for me when I got an iPhone, because it was like a huge deal, because everyone made fun of me, and they would do lightsaber fights in the hallway when I had an iPhone. So when I got one, he was like, present! But it creeps a lot of people out, and when I was in college and I would forget to turn my phone off and I was taking a test, most people would be like, it's not my phone. It's not my phone. Can't really deny that one. It's not me Cherami's are in the class. My teacher would go, just turn it off. I was like, it's like I'm going to deny it. I can't. But yeah, no, I'm really excited about Shiki. I love the character, and I would give a completely biased perspective because I am biased on her side. But what I really love about the animation, and what I told Mike, is I was like, I really want to work on the show because I'm a big fan of living in the gray area, and there's really no right and no wrong for each person, because I love seeing both sides of an argument and trying to justify both sides, and that is purely that animation, which I think is brilliant. And I think it's a really elevated, thought-provoking show. And that last episode is gut-wrenching for both sides, which I think is so emotionally powerful.
Yeah.
So I was glad I got to work on it.
It's pretty
Well,
dark.
well spoken.
Yeah, it's a dark show.
Okay, so you want to continue?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, right here in the front. You've been raising your hand. I'll get somebody in the back in a second.
creepiest question someone asked you?
That one.
Well, bonjour, I'm your But the creepiest thing, I was on my Facebook for a while, but it was not on my fan club, was the Great Kazoo Mystery. Sherry, you'd love this story. When I used to fly to Texas to do Dragon Ball Z Kai, and Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z Kai from New York, and I'd stay in the same hotel every time, and they got wind that I was staying there, and a couple of the young kids are Dragon Ball Z fans. But here's the weird part, it wasn't one of the young kids at the front desk, it was the maid. And so I go into my room, and I think on Friday night I took my pants off and went to bed. I went to bed, I took my pants off, left my pants at the foot of the bed, so I got out a clean pair, and I did all my laundry and left all my laundry strewn all over the... it's not funny yet.
No, I think I'm getting it.
Oh, no, you're not getting it. Trust me, it gets weird. And not weird like you might be thinking. Trust me, it gets weird. It involves a kazoo. Anyway, so I have my laundry strewn all over the couch, because it's clean laundry. And then, so basically I just decided to live off the pile instead of folding it up and putting it in my suitcase for the next day. So I don't check that pair of pants at the foot of my bed. I just leave it there. And then, is that the same person? No, that's my lady. I go a day or two later to go, I put my clothes, actually I've got the story out of order because it's really weird. So I'm going to get ready, I'm looking through the laundry and I find a bottle of Purell. I don't use Purell, I never bought the stuff. And then I noticed that my martial arts belt, which I train sometimes when I travel, is wrapped up in it's wrapped up neatly in a rubber band and placed back in my suitcase. I'm kind of tripping out. I call the front desk. Oh, it gets weirder. It's about to get weirder. It gets really weird. So then...
I'm going to be really uncomfortable when I go back to my hotel today.
Oh yeah, you are going to be uncomfortable. I'm flying home here in about 15 minutes. It gets really weird because there's like two parts to this. So then I call the front desk, I'm trying to figure it out. I go, I'm not that really upset about it. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So they go, we don't know, we're sorry, we have no idea. They're instructed to not be in your laundry or doing anything. So I get ready to leave my room, and I'm looking for my keys, which I don't need, because I'm not gonna lock, but I instinctively go to get my keys. I go, they're my pants that I wore the first night. So I go and I reach in my right front pocket for my keys, and I pull out a yellow kazoo. And I'm like, WTF? And I'm shaking. I'm like, oh. Now it gets weirder. There's two parts to this story. In fact, it involves this bag. But several months later. So, I'm telling the story totally out of order, but it gets really cool. So, I call the front desk and I go, look, can I just talk to the waitstaff? I'm using Occam's razor to try to figure out, or Occam's razor, not Occam, that's another guy. Occam's razor to figure out what is going on. I go to the head of housekeeping, and she's like, well, I don't know, they're instructed. I go, well, can I talk to them? And they're like, no, they don't, probably don't speak English. I go, well, do you speak Spanish? And they go, well, just a little. And I go, look, I speak a little Spanish. Let me just talk. Well, we will not allow you to interrogate. I go, I don't want to interrogate him. I don't want to get him in trouble. I just think this is awesome, and I want to know what's going on. And I felt like House. I wanted to solve the mystery.
Them for my kazoo.
I wanted to solve the mystery.
Sherlock Schemmel.
Yeah, totally. So they denied. So I go, fine. I didn't have any real proof, but I knew only one person had been in my room, and it was my friend Brian, and he did not mess with anything. And it was after I'd found the kazoo, and he came to pick me up for dinner. No one else had been in my room for any reason. And, he likes to play pranks on me, but he said, he goes, maybe Sabat played this prank on you. And I called Chris Sabat, he's like, oh man, Sean, I didn't I swear. Because Chris Sabat will play some pranks on you. He will.
Yeah, he will.
And so, here's the funny part. So, the kazoo's there, the Purell. I compose a note entirely in Spanish by using Google Translate. It says, why did you leave my... It's like, no, there's de pantalones, why did you wrap up my martial arts belt? Why did you stick a kazoo in my pants? I'm not mad or anything. I just want to know why you did it. So, months pass. I take this bag on every trip. It's my computer gear, and I leave certain things in it, and I don't check it when I go home. So a couple months later, I'm at my apartment, and my neighbor buzzes and says, hey, I've locked my keys up. Can I hang out with you until my roommate gets? I'm like, no problem. So we're hanging out. She's like, my iPhone's, not like keys. She wanted to call her roommate, but her iPhone's dead. And I go, I don't use an iPhone. And so we're sitting there talking for a couple hours, and then I go, wait a second, I might have an iPad charger that might work on your iPhone in my bag. So I'm looking through my bag, and I find a tape recorder. And I'm like, what? And I go, oh, and I'm talking to my roommate, my neighbor's not my roommate, my neighbor, I go, oh, it's gotta be the kazoo, it's gotta be the kazoo, it's gotta be the kazoo. She's like, what, you're freaking me out, Sean, what's going on? And I go, oh, let's just listen to it, let's listen to it. So it's a message in Spanish. Now, I don't really speak enough Spanish to translate it, but my neighbor is Puerto Rican. The game is afoot. It's a couple months later. So we listen to it, and I play it, and it has several kazoo tones. And by the way, the note I wrote, I took a picture of it, which I will show you, but my SD card died today, so I don't have it. But I took a picture of the note I left, and I took a picture of all the evidence and made a video of it. And I'd be destroyed because my SD card fried today on the way here. So I can't take pictures of the show. But anyway, so then after the kazoo tones, you hear in Spanish a woman saying, the kazoo is here. The kazoo is everywhere. I'm sorry. That's it. So the next time I go back to the hotel for one of my last sessions of Dragon Ball Z Kai, I didn't bring the tape recorder with me because I didn't want to lose it because I'm keeping it forever. I go, ha! It was the wait staff because
that's awesome.
It was in Spanish, not trying to stereotype, but the maid staff are Hispanic, and it says the kazoo's here, the kazoo's everywhere. I'm sorry, we gotta go in a second, right?
Just wrap it up.
Okay, no, we gotta wrap up because I gotta go to the airport. And I have on a shelf, at the top of the shelf where I have my autographed Piccolo doll from Crips. Next to that is a tape recorder, a yellow kazoo, and a bottle of Purell. That's 100% true story.
That's awesome.
That is my wacky creepy. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna share with him, of course, about 6 minutes time here. And that's the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me from being Goku in my entire career.
That's entertaining though. The creepiest thing that was ever said to me is not really entertaining, but you know, it's whatever. I was doing an autograph session. This guy came up to me. He's like, "So you did a web interview thing, and I proposed to you on a live chat, and your boyfriend was hosting the web chat." I was like, "Yes," and he's like, "So you never responded?" I was like, "But I'm still dating my boyfriend. It's like going on 3 years now." And he goes, "He doesn't have to know." And at this point is when I was like,
marriage license is in public domain.
okay. I was like, "But you live here," and I was trying to be nice because I didn't want to be mean about it. I was like, "But you live here, and you know, I live in the same city as him, so that's kind of a necessary requirement." He goes, "I'll move." I was like, okay, and like Todd Habercorn and J. Michael Tatum are sitting next to me, and I didn't know this, but I'm like shifting further this way towards Tatum while he's talking, and he's like, he's like, I have to get something out of my bag to give to you, and I was like,
oh God.
Okay, I was like, oh, good, okay, and I like look over and Tatum's like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. And then the guy like looks like out of nowhere. He looks up and he goes, "I'm gonna marry her," to Tatum, and Tatum goes, "Yeah, security." And like Tatum was like, "You're gonna need to leave right now." And the guy's like, "No, I know her boyfriend. Like we're good friends." And I was like,
"He's okay with it."
And so like he came back later, and he was like, you know, it was an elaborate joke. But I mean, like if you're cool with it, you can totally get married. And I was like, so I don't really. It feels very surreal. I didn't know that it happened, but I texted my boyfriend. I was like, so that guy was here, and my boyfriend starts laughing because he proposed to me via the live chat. My boyfriend was like, I'm dating her, and then the guy, he's like, so how'd it go? I was like, he was very aggressive. It was very awkward. I hope to never see him again because I don't know what's gonna happen.
J. Michael knows how to handle it.
Yeah, J. Michael Tatum will be there.
Yeah, he's a very tall man.
Speak in British accent and make it come back.
So we're gonna wrap it up. Can we do one more or not? One more question and we wrap it up?
Okay, last question.
Last question. Okay, who's the lucky winner? You gonna share me?
No, you go for it.
Okay, let's see.
She's had her hand up the whole time.
Oh, you have it the whole time? All right, then you got a support group. Yes, sorry.
You were talking about doing songs while voicing and doing your singing. Did you have to take lessons, like a couple days lessons to sing? Like you sang for Rose or the same. Did you have to take because you have to do it in her voice. You can't do it in your own voice. So it's a little different. Did you have to take like a couple days?
No, actually, generally they let me know when I'm going to sing ahead of time, and I really like that because in high school I was told I was a terrible singer and never to sing again. So when I showed up, they were just going through and they showed us a cue, and actually with Rode, he goes, "Okay, you're going to sing it." I thought it was a joke, and I was like, "That's funny, I don't sing." In high school, I was told not to, so I'm actually very terrified. And Todd goes, "Whatever, you're going to sing." So no, they actually like threw that one on me on the fly. But now I've gotten better, and I do love singing. I did it.
Awesome.
And I've sung. I actually had to sing for an audition for a pilot, and they were like, "So are you a singer who acts a little bit?" And I was like, "No, thank
An actor
you."
who sings a little bit.
Oh, that's so nice that you would think that.
Awesome.
My high school teacher's crazy. Not really. Maybe I just feel more confident about it.
We want to thank you guys. Very grateful. I love coming to Canada. Love you back again soon. Thank you.
Everywhere. Next time I see you, I'm going to just leave a kazoo. With a note that says, "From Cherami."
Next time I see you.
Or it'll be in Spanish.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.